By the way, none of the music listed is what I'm playing today. I was playing at home, and Jonathan said everything I chose sounded sad, so I changed it all. So,
I doubt it sounded like crap. Good morning. This is the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charleston, West Virginia, just in case you mistakenly wandered into the wrong building. My name is Paul Dalzell, and I am the worship coordinator here. Welcome all of you, our members, our friends, and if this is your first time here, we welcome you and thank you for joining us today. If you are new to UUC, I am sure you will find us an open, accepting congregation. We are guided by the 7 principles that you see around you and 6 values. Interdependence, which you will hear more about today, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, and justice. It turns out JET-PIG is an easy mnemonic device for remembering them. So justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity. We are the place, as a wise man once told me, if you don't feel that you fit in anywhere else, you belong here. As Unitarian Universalists, we draw from our heritage of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. When we gather to worship in this place, we shape what is of worth to us, to gather in community, to sit together, to sing, to listen, to find respite from the outside world for an hour. Please know we welcome you, whoever you are.
now let's sing our welcome song.
Yeah, please.
Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Whoever you come from, we welcome you. Whoever you love, we welcome you.
Let us take a moment to thank our tech team, Maddie, Paul, and Jaden. Maddie and Paul are with us today. Our greeter, Laura Bickett. Our ushers, Jean and part-time Bob. Our music coordinator, Jamie Edwards, and the UUC music makers for all the work they do to make Sundays happen. And a big thank you, as always, to our congregational administrator, Sarah Stone, for her patience and talent in organizing these facilities, keeping us informed, and keeping this collection of counterculture congregants operating. Today's opening words are Cherishing Our Differences by Cindy Fesgen. We are all capable, in different ways, with various strengths and talents. We are all holy, part of the universe and the interdependent web. Oops. That was not the opening words I meant to do. That's the chalice lighting. I am sorry. So I'm going to save the rest of that for the chalice lighting. Skip over opening words that I didn't put into my worship, my papers. And let's transition to the opening hymn. I invite you to rise in body, spirit, and voice for our opening hymn, number 175, We Celebrate the Web of Life.
Verses 1 and 2 only.
as much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale.
And Margie might as well stay up. Okay. Because as Marjorie Clarkson lights our chalice, please join me in reading the words in your order of service, which are Cherishing Our Differences by Cindy Feskin. They may be familiar to you. We are all capable in different ways with various strengths and talents. We are all holy, part of the universe and the interdependent web. We light this chalice, cherishing our differences and holding each other in sacredness. For those who don't live on East End, by the way, our chalice lighter today, Marjorie Clarkson, takes care of the interdependent web of all existence in a special way. Every single day, come rain, sun, sleet, snow, she feeds the neighborhood cats that are around. Stops at a few different places and feeds them all, and does this every single day, no matter what. And it is a beautiful thing, I will say. Okay. And now we will have our song for all ages, and I'm not sure which one it's going to be.
It's just something else jazzy.
Okay. We gather together in worship, whether in person or virtually, to connect with the greater good, to do good and to be better. Part of that is sharing our joys, our celebrations, our sorrows, our concerns, our peace, our help, and our needs. Under joys, we have tomorrow hippie music sing-along with local musicians at the Kanawha City Senior Center, 12 or 12:30. Oh, Kanawha County, not Kanawha City. Gotcha. I'm sorry. KC. People are being held accountable for crimes they have committed, or at least are found guilty of them. There was good turnout for the Queeroke, and it was great fun. And big thanks to Sarah for getting a karaoke machine last minute. and amazing drum cookout fireworks celebration on the 4th. Spiral Moon Grove and UUC Community Drum Circle. Under sorrows, we have Hurricane Beryl ravaging Texas and the Caribbean. And real sad to hear, Sam Hickman's lung infection has reoccurred. He is on IV antibiotics and other treatments. Let's do wish him well. Let's take a moment just to sit and to breathe, to meditate, to ponder, to pray if you wish, but most of all, to be at peace. The offering we take each Sunday is an opportunity to recommit to this place and to these people. It is as much a ritual as singing together, lighting our chalice, or reciting our unison affirmation. It is a reminder of that form of love we call generosity. It is how we show that we believe it is important to worship together, to help our community, and to say yes to the values of our faith. Please join me in reading our unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Love is the spirit of our faith, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. One of my favorite comic books growing up was What If? Marvel made it an animated series on Disney also. It was very well written. The premise of both the book and the series is that changing one thing in the past will lead to major changes in the present. What if Peggy Carter had taken the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers? What if the world lost the Avengers? That sort of thing. Physics postulates the existence of a multiverse in which the possibilities are endless. Everything that could happen does happen somewhere in the multiverse. Since I am fascinated by this thought experiment, imagine my joy while researching interdependence, I came across an article titled Interdependence Day. What if the founding fathers had realized they were dependent on England and the other great powers in Europe, and instead of declaring independence, had accepted George III's rule? I feel sure the wealthy landowners that wrote the Declaration of Independence would have been fine. They had markets for their goods. They could easily have just accepted the status quo and continued being rich landowners. Van der Waal, in their article in the Pacific Sentinel, says, without separating from Britain, the Louisiana Purchase may not have transpired. The sale of a vast, tactically valuable territory to Britain during the Napoleonic Wars is unlikely. Perhaps the Anglophone British colonies and the Francophone Louisiana Territory would have aggregated into a bilingual state similar to Canada. The restriction of the Anglophone North American political entity to the area east of the Mississippi would have never permitted the so-called manifest destiny philosophy to arise. Thus, the genocides of Native Americans living west of the Mississippi might never have occurred. Today, we remember our history. Perhaps a North American nation that had never broken with Britain would now be part of the Commonwealth of Nations with India, Canada, Australia, and others. Such an association would mean a different set of American interests and alliances. Perhaps the long war of the 20th century, a classification, he writes, encompassing the First and Second World Wars, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Cold War, and other conflicts from 1914 through 1990, all fought over the same set of concerns. Perhaps that long war would have been less gruesome, with a less equivocal, neutral North American nation. Today, we remember our history. Had we remained a British colony, slavery would have ended 30 years earlier, as it did in Canada and Great Britain in the 1830s under King William IV. The bloody Civil War would not have caused the Great Divide, which is still causing so many problems. Today, we remember our history. Van der Waal continues, conjecturing on alternate courses of history shows the interdependence of all phenomena. Nothing arises in a void, nor is it true that any development is wholly good or bad because the ramifications are too numerous and far-reaching for simple classification. This examination of one instance of political independence shows how it is one facet of interdependence, dependence, and independence, a phenomena of existence with many faces. Now, I doubt the Article 2 Study Commission or the committee that established the 7 principles in 1985 were thinking about the what-if comic when they decided on using the word interdependent in our 7th principle or in this shared value. I can imagine they did, but I do doubt it. We are all part of the interdependent web of all existence. That both the 7th principle and the shared value agree on. The principle asks us to respect it, the value to honor it with humility and reverence, and goes on to ask us to covenant to protect the earth and all beings from exploitation. We know climate change is real. We know it is damaging our planet and all the beings in the web. The United Nations says climate change is the single biggest health threat facing humanity. Climate impacts are already harming health through air pollution, disease, extreme weather events, forced displacement, pressures on mental health, and increased hunger and poor nutrition in places where people cannot grow or find sufficient food. The Union of Concerned Scientists says climate change is one of the most challenging problems that humanity has ever faced. At stake are hundreds of millions of lives, innumerable species and ecosystems, the health and viability of the economy, and the future habitability of this planet. It continues. Carbon dioxide and other heat-trapping gases are the main drivers of global warming. While climate change cannot be stopped, it can be slowed. To avoid the worst consequences of climate change, we'll need to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050 or sooner. Net zero means that, on balance, no more carbon is dumped into the atmosphere than is taken out. To achieve net zero emissions, we need a massive transformation in how we produce and consume electricity. We need a newer, better transportation system. We need to stop deforestation. We need a climate-friendly agricultural system. The scale of these changes will require federal policy that puts a price on carbon. It also requires international cooperation. The Paris Agreement, signed in 2016, reflects the world's best effort to solve climate change so far, though it doesn't include the emission restrictions we need. It is real. It's hard to grasp how real, and we must act to slow it. Our new shared value adds more, though. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality, and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. This phrase takes it to a different level, doesn't it? I don't think the A2 Commission was thinking only about our planet here. I think this ties in with equity, which I talked about last week, too. Relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice must be about people, right? We all are both dependent on and interdependent with others through our relationships, as independent as we like to think we are. That is why we humans fall in love, isn't it? Because we all need someone to love. We all need to be loved. As Reverend Bruce Beisner stated so eloquently a few months ago, love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. The final sentence of the covenant of the value interdependence is, we will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. We humans have certainly done more than our share of harm to the web of all existence, and we need to do all we can to repair it. But this also seems to go a step further and sounds like the relationships are about people too, doesn't it? Repairing harm and damaged relationships is hard enough when talking about our fellow species, but repairing damaged relationships with people, now that's tough. And as I mentioned, this goes along with the value of equity and, yes, our own behavioral covenant, which I should add also goes along with the value of plurality. One might think some thought had gone into these values, huh? We are all different. We are all interdependent on others in various ways. So how do we repair damaged relationships? A potentially friendly AI says to rebuild trust, apologize, communicate, establish boundaries, practice empathy, and to forgive. And I'll add to that last one, forgive both the other person and yourself. Now, a brief anecdote. Last week, I forgot to put the words for the chalice lighting in the order of service. It was all me. I can't blame Sarah. I sent her the completed OOS with the comment, all you need to do is print and fold. Now, probably none of you remembered or even thought about it until I just mentioned it. Me, I beat myself up over pulling such a boneheaded move. After the service, I immediately pulled the document up on my phone and added in bold red, "Don't forget the words," under chalice lighting. I was kind enough to myself not to say dumbass after it, but I did fuss at me, I cussed at me, all immediately after telling you all to remember to forgive yourselves. The hypocrisy is not lost on me. It's hard living inside my head, y'all. There are many times I think to myself, what if I spoke to myself the way I treat other people? Now, in an article in Psychology Today titled, "A Surefire Way to Repair a Damaged Relationship," the author Susan Krauss-Whitborn writes that you need to start by being able to empathize with the person you've offended, defining empathy as the capacity to understand and share others' perspectives and emotional states. You think of yourself as a caring and thoughtful person who wouldn't hurt someone else. Sadly, it's exactly when you have hurt someone else that you're least likely to want to admit it. You may normally be quite high in empathy, but because we don't want to admit we hurt someone else, we are feeling that emotion, be it guilt or shame, instead of what the other is feeling. In other words, you may have the trait of empathy, but because we don't want to view ourselves as being hurtful, we are not in the state of empathy. Therefore, the best way to ensure your apology works is to put yourself directly into the place of the person you offended, to just pause and reflect on the other person's inner state. Then, think about the emotions you are trying to generate: warmth, compassion, concern. And finally, see if your apology covers the qualities that will make it sincere, remorse, accepting responsibility, admitting wrongdoing, requesting forgiveness, desire for repair, and acknowledging harm. It is hard work, though. It is uncomfortable to admit we hurt someone with our words when it wasn't our intention. We even try to make up excuses. I didn't mean to. I wasn't thinking. Doing the work to fix it is much harder than trying to think of others' feeling before you speak. And it involves admitting you did cause hurt and forgiving yourself too. We hippies used to say, losing your ego. It might mean letting go of your pride and being a pretty empathic person so that you can be empathic. To conclude, the new shared value of interdependence very closely aligns with the old seventh principle. The difference is that now we acknowledge our place in it with reverence and humility, and that the web of life includes our relationships with other people, not just the ecosystem in which we live. We, as independent creatures, are dependent and interdependent with the humans we live among, too. Let's sing our closing hymn. I invite you to rise in body, spirit, and voice. It is number 298, Wake Now, My Senses.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep sorrow of being in all. Keep without ebb of creation your vow. Increasing as love shows us how. Wake now my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quest for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer thy limit and praise the sublime. Wake now my passion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end.
Our closing words today are Democracy's Benediction by Lucas Hergert. We are democracy, unruly, unfinished, unrelenting, people of rebellious joy, taking to the streets, underground resilience, resisting complacence, the pleasure of activism organizing into simple hope. We are democracy, people of principles taking on principalities, witnessing the worth of those called unworthy, justice just now gaining ground, integrity of interdependent existence extending, living democracy in heads, hands, hearts. We know that democracy can die, ossify brittle byproducts of bygone idealists, plotting politicians, pirating votes. corporations cannibalizing our care for the world. Look, it can wither, distend, come to an end. Democracy, today we will love you alive, make you ours, make you thrive, and will vote as though our hope is on the line. Let's now, oh, thank you. That's a good choice. Let's now sing our recessional together. Wait for the bong bongs, and the words will be up here.